Thanks everyone for joining us for another community committee. I almost said CPC. I don't know why. I've never said that for the CPC. But thanks for joining us for another CPC. God, another ComCom meeting. Yeah. I guess we could just get started and skip over me doing that failure again. Yeah, so we have a few things on the agenda this week, which is nice. I assume we will blow through them relatively quickly. They're all pretty low barrier. One note, if folks could take or help with minutes, we would appreciate that. I will drop the minutes link in half a second when I copy the right link and not the issue.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I did try to add an item to the agenda, and I guess it didn't populate.
No worries. Do you want to? Do you want to send it or just put it in the chat and we can also include it?
Sure, I'll do it now.
Great, thanks. Yeah. So
sorry, it looks like it did wind up on the agenda. Cindy, you're talking about helping ComCom manage the ComCom repository 219 and.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's
yeah,
it.
that's it's on the agenda.
Okay, sorry, I did.
No, you're fine. Also, for those who are here, I think I might have just broken that link. For those who are here, if you could add yourself to the attendance or the presence list. Present, not presence. I'll take presents if you have them though. If you could add yourself to that, that would be excellent. Cool. Yeah. So I guess let's do initiative updates. I have none from examples that imminently come to mind. David, Ben.
Yeah,
Cindy,
I guess I'll go. Yeah, so for mentorship, I think we're pretty much all set with NAPI. They've got their mentee. He attended their meeting, and so I think that's all going fine. Michael? Yeah?
Yeah, no, I think that we're all hooked up. He was there. We've got the first thing he's working on. I've seen some issues being open, so looks like we have a good start.
Great. Love to hear that. And I think other than that, it's probably just a little bit more of the same of us trying to figure out who to help next. And we do have something on the agenda related to that. And I don't know, I might be forgetting something, but I think that's the gist.
Oh, one question I have in that, have you all presented or participated in the TSC meetings at all?
We haven't. I think last time we talked about it, I think, was it you, Michael? Or I think someone mentioned that they were going to maybe bring something up.
Did that get brought up today, Michael?
It's probably a good reminder for me since I haven't done that, but I could. Probably what I should do is I can create an issue. Now, I think Tierney's point though might be, would it be good to get you to one of the meetings to kind of give a presentation versus a third hand thing. So why don't we, as we speak, I'm going to go to the TSC issues. I'll create a new issue, which is, what should I call this? Update on mentoring initiative and looking for interested teams, right? Does that sound like a good title?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. You can continue on with the other issues, but I'll write up a quick one and I'll at CC you to comment, and we'll get you invited to the next TSC meeting. That you can. I'll talk with you separately, and we can figure out which, because it rotates through 3 different times. What's the next one that's a good time for you?
Great.
Okay.
I can talk about the website redesign.
Fire away.
Yeah, so last weekend I created some new issues on creating a blog, and someone picked up the backend or the GraphQL portion of that, and so it's progressing along nicely. And in doing that, I was going to use that as a example to update the docs, because the docs also use Markdown. Yeah, and we are continuing to get kind of drive-by docs changes, which is kind of normal. And I also created some issues on like component updates and for the community page. And I don't think anyone's volunteered for that one yet to create a sidebar. Is that it?
Cool.
Let me ask a question that's sort of related, because I've been thinking about this from a conversation you and I had, Ben, a little bit ago. Does Node.js have a docs team? Have we ever had a docs team? Is it something that has been talked about?
We have had a docs team and it has failed, I think, 2 times now. I'm sure Michael also has opinions or thoughts or at least objective context around this, but there's been a docs team twice. In general, it ends up getting either not enough traction or there's too many barriers. So that's, I think, how that's happened. If we want to try it again, I'm happy to try that. I would prefer not to lead it, but I would be happy to help with that. Especially just because I am still working on basically a full rewrite of the docs with Ethan Airwood to propose. We're specifically working on tooling first, but.
That's interesting, your last comment there, because I think that relates to what Ben and I were talking about, like in looking at integrating the docs to the new platform, Gatsby and everything, the way things are written in the docs, some of the like kind of flags and stuff that's picked up by the tooling, just trying to figure out how we could migrate that to a new website and kind of like, build process. So that's very interesting. I don't know what work you and Ethan have done, but that's maybe the 5 of us or 4 of us, however many, have a docs team assembling as we speak.
Yeah. I realized I forgot to put out a tweet that we're live. So Ethan and I proposed a while ago that Node.js move to Electron's docs parser tooling. That tooling was custom built for Electron. It basically allows them to statically generate types from docs, which is something that is interesting. It basically builds out a typed structure of JSON into or from Markdown. So you have to type you have to write your Markdown very specifically, which in converting some of our documents, we are not consistent in how we write Markdown at all. Like even in the same doc. So that and it's not hard. It's just like getting it to the same spot. I believe Michael requested that we first have a linter rather than use it. Like we move to this and we kind of go through a linting process so we can have that developer experience rather than having to like know how to write the docs and then like run it in a PR, which is fine. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Ethan and
you want to be able to do it locally for sure.
Right. Yeah, and so like you can do it locally, but it's wonky, and so it's like having a linter is. I totally agree that having a linter is ideal, and also that would benefit Electron. So they don't have a linter, so it makes sense. This led Ethan and I down a path of okay, well we're going to strip out how they do the parsing and make that a unique module. Have Electron consume that since they don't care about that. And then have Electron consume the parser or like the parsing of Markdown and basically the AST that they build, and then also be able to use that same module for linting, and then that led a little bit further down the path of they were doing it a little bit unoptimally, and by a little bit I mean like they were doing it twice when they needed to do it once, and so we have gone further down that path of basically starting from scratch with their rules. Ethan has done an immense amount of work on this. I want to take no credit for the amount of work that he's done. He's done a lot. And so, we're still poking at that as time goes on. And so it's not, it definitely might seem like a stalled thing from that issue. If folks are interested in helping with this, that'd be cool. But it's also like definitely not a guarantee that Node will accept it. So, there's that caveat, but I think that we can get it to a point, like Ethan and I definitely have in mind that this, like, a goal for this is to allow Node to use this, and to make it generic enough that like others could use it too, which has a lot of other benefits ecosystem wide, for a lot of reasons that I won't get into. But yeah, it's something that we're working on. If that's something you two would be interested in helping with, I'm happy to start a discussion with Ethan. But Joe, I think you've been talking to Ethan, so I think you know him enough to you have a channel to him. But,
yeah, I actually just had a meeting with him before this meeting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he's great. He's really doing a lot of great stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think this is really interesting, and it seems like the work aligns in terms of the work that would need to be done to have it function in the new website as well. So I think that there's a lot of overlap there.
The other benefit of what I can see is, like, I think a problem we currently have is that docs live in core. Docs are built and shipped with core. So, like, I believe if you download Node, you get HTML pages that you can read for docs locally. And
to build them local, to get the docs, you have to build Node locally, which takes a while.
Yep.
Even on my nice latest and greatest PC, it still takes a while.
Yep. So yeah, like the other benefit of this is, like, we do have JSON. Like, there's just JSON published to the website that you can pull right now. That JSON is relatively primitive, and doesn't have, it's like, there's like HTML in it, I believe. Like, there's raw text HTML that's in the JSON. And the benefit of this would be that you'd get a lot more granular and useful information from a similar but more informed, more complete JSON file, that could be used in something consumed from something like Gatsby without having to build Node. So that's another benefit that we get there. One thing I also do want to say is, like, if as we continue down the path of website redesign, one of the things I've noticed about the Node site is, like, if I type like fs.promise into Google, I get Node 10 docs, which is not good. That's not a good SEO thing. So finding some way to make sure that we're centralizing and then versioning in that, because that hurts us both in terms of our own search, and then also hurts users. And, like, I'm just clicking the first docs link, which happens to be version 10.
Yeah.
I actually noticed this only because the one docs page I had dark mode and the Node 10 didn't. And I was very confused why one was dark and one was not.
And this is a common problem. I find this all the time where I search something, I end up on a docs page, and I'm like, oh, shoot, a variety of languages and platforms. So it's definitely a problem. And we can note that that's something we should figure out long term. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe the four of us should, I don't want to derail the ComCom meeting here, but maybe the four of us should get together, talk about the state, and see how we can work together to move things forward.
No, I agree. I think that's a good thing to do.
Maybe I'll start a group. I can start a group Slack, and we can take it from there.
Yep, sounds good. Okay. Any other initiative updates? Oh, also, David, I think Michael had a question for you in the Zoom chat. Any other initiative updates, things like that?
I feel like I had something, but now I forgot what it was. Oh, this is a, I'm going to post it in the chat here. This is more of an announcement than initiative update. I just wanted to make sure that folks know the Next 10 survey is live. This is a survey born out of the Next 10 work, Node.js/Next 10. So if anybody here in the group, but also streaming now or later, if you have interest in helping shape the direction of Node.js, the future work, check out that tweet from the Node.js handle and take the survey. It's a tweet thread too, so there's a blog post in the second tweet, and the third tweet has a link to the repo. If you have any interest in any of that, please take a look.
And it's quite a short survey. I don't think it'll take people more than like 5 minutes or less, probably just a couple minutes to fill out. And would definitely, the Next 10 team put a lot of thought into it. We had some great discussions. So we're hoping it's good, but it's only a smaller number of people participating, and we really need the broader community's help to make sure that sort of understanding of what people need is correct. And that'll make sure that, the basis that we're making some of the next sort of discussions, what we think is key for the success in the next 10 years are on a solid foundation. So yeah, please go out and fill that out if you can.
Back to initiatives. Tierney, I'll ask you selfishly because I could look, but I'm not sure. Anything on the social team? I know we're trying to figure out some GitHub action work.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point. Definitely, it's not a ComCom initiative, but it is a good thing to update. Joe and I shipped some, worked on some. We didn't fully ship, but worked on some automation for the Twitter account, for lack of a better word, in the tweet repo. It turns out we need a unique non-GitHub provided GitHub personal access token, because for security reasons, GitHub actions can't trigger other GitHub actions with a GitHub provided or with an actions provided CI token or GitHub access token. So I think we have approval for this at this point. Yeah, we do. I think, yeah, we have enough. So I don't know who I need to ask for that. Michael, you might know who I need to ask for a personal access token. But that's a thing we need to ask for.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody who's asked for those kinds of things has been able to create one.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can shove my own personal access token in there.
Right.
I don't think that's what we want to do, though.
No, but that's a good question. Like, have we created extra users or?
So there's the bot account, which I assume is the one that has all of them, and I assume someone signs into that and creates one. I don't have that sign in.
Right. Okay. If you want to schedule a time with me, we can probably I should have access to go and see if I can figure out how to log into the bot account. I've never done it, but I should have the access to get the credentials. We could then take a look and see, like, is that where everything is? And if so, then create.
I can also ping Mary. I'm sure she knows.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you want to ping her, that would be great. But
yeah.
Just saying, if you get stuck, you can default. You can fall back to me.
Yep. Sounds good. I will do. Yeah, so I'll do that. So theoretically now we should be able to, with that personal access token, we should be able to automate PRs for the build appreciation tweets and the job tweet. That doesn't also exclude, like, we're not only doing those, it's just those are the ones that are, the lowest hanging fruit that we know we wanted to do. I imagine we will also add a hey, here's what's happening this week in Node tweet with a link to the calendar. I think that's the lowest hanging fruit. If someone wants to add a query, add a PR query to get, like, the entries from the calendar or something, that'd be cool too. Or if we want to completely change how we do everything and have everything through code in a centralized repo, like, sure, that's another way we could do it, I guess, and we could get it from that, but I don't think anyone's going to be doing that work. So yeah, yeah, that's those are the kind of updates there. Just waiting on that process of getting a personal access token to do that.
Cool.
But yeah, we should be good there.
Does anybody here have access to the calendar? It would be great if we got that social team meeting on the calendar.
Oh yeah. I can do that, Joe. What was the time again?
I think was it Wednesday at 1 on the off week from ComCom? So not this week, but next week.
Okay, good. I didn't miss it this week, and last week I had a reason. Yeah, I can get that added, Joe.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Anything else before we get into agenda items?
From the CPC side, I'm trying to think what's to report there. The OpenJS World stuff has been going on. The CFP close, working through the proposals there. I think I don't remember the timing, but acceptance stuff should start to go out in the next week or two. What have we been working on? I actually missed the last meeting, so I'm not exactly sure.
There was the meeting prior was COC discussion, and then the last meeting was, oh my god, the last meeting was, I can't recall. Yeah, I can't
Doing
recall.
some diversity work, which is great. We're kind of aligning with some other groups, like I think the W3C and maybe Chaos. I think we're kind of going to start collaborating with them to really kind of figure out how to measure, but also improve diversity, equity, inclusion. And we have found that our code of conduct, like moderation guidelines, have some work, some clarity, some gaps. So we're working on that. I think the next working session will be on that. But I think it's good work that we've found these things and can make things more clear and documented clearly.
But the other interesting thing maybe is we did rename. We made the primary branch main for all the repos in the in the CPC organization, or the OpenJS organization, and kind of passed on to some of the projects that that's a good thing to do as well.
Is that something that we're going to be able to do in Node at some point?
There's already an issue open.
Okay.
So there's an issue open. There's like that sort of list that I put into the CPC ones. I generated the same list for Node, although it's like much longer.
Yeah.
And there's like 20 that it's already been done for. We did discuss it in the meeting today. The main thing is just getting people comfortable to go in and actually start changing some of them.
I assume for Node, there's also going to be some automation stuff that needs to change.
For the main Node project, it's going to be a much
it's going to be
bigger one, because you've got all the automation, you've got tools like Git Node Land, and so from my perspective, if we can, if there's 50 repos, if we can get 45 of them done and then have the last 5 which are more complicated, I think that would be good, because it'll then narrow it down to, okay, we've had the experience with the other ones, now let's think a little more carefully about the remaining ones.
Yep.
If you need any help there, like I imagine it's in multiple places that updates need to happen. If I can help in any way, let me know.
For a lot of them, like, so for example, there's a lot of internationalization repos.
We really need to archive the ones that haven't been active.
Right. So those are ones where, like, I really believe there's no impact to just changing it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I haven't just done that because it's kind of like, hey, I'm not active in those repos. It would be at least good to do something that says, hey, whoever is active. So back to the, hey, if if Joe was saying, what could you do? That would actually be something quite useful, is to like figure out who we would ask and just ask them.
It might be worth just also creating like a templated issue that you can copy paste and say like, hey, here's this message. If there's any objection to us changing the language here, in 7 days, respond. Otherwise, like, we're gonna do this.
And posting that into all the internationalization ones would then make it so that like anybody who has the org access could then go and start renaming them.
Yep.
The OpenJS Slack channel for the redesign or for the internationalization is on again, off again, kind of active. I think if we pinged in there, we'd probably get a response too. So I think it's just I18N and Node.js I18N and OpenJS Slack.
I also think that going through that the process might be a good one. Just like hitting, like saying, hey, we're gonna do this. Like there's even, I mean, there's even ComCom repos that like I'm sure still could do this.
Yeah.
So like, do you have that list somewhere, Michael?
The Node ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, just let me find the issue. Hold on.
Yeah, and Michael's got a handy script too that he runs that I probably generated this list if anybody is
Yep.
needing.
Yeah, I
that.
posted that into the infra channel just in case.
Okay.
So I'm trying to remember what I used to find this. It's like a node issue somebody else created.
Oh, I see the node issue or the yeah. I think you put it in the info channel.
Ah, yes, I did. Yeah.
Yes, you did. Yeah. So there's a lot there. Holy hell, that's a lot. Yeah. So I think that's like, maybe Joe and I, if you wanted to split it, we can write a template and then we can go in and comment in each of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. And then, we could, I'm sure, crowdsource more of the TSC members to help actually do the rename once we're like, yeah, that we're all set to do it kind of thing.
Yeah, and with like GitHub provides the tool that it's like you click it and it's done.
It doesn't take long. You just have to
yeah.
it's probably 2 or 3 minutes per, right? So it's just that go to the repo, click the button.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of them. I still know that 20 or 30 will take you an hour or something, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's a thing that we can do. Joe, are you up for that? Like writing a template with me and then we can go through and just put it in.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Cool.
we can do those ones, and then there's probably a whole bunch of other ones too, like not even just the internationalization ones, but there's there are a lot of repos. It might even be that we could just put it into all the repos, right? As kind of a, is there anybody who's active and has an issue? And if not,
Yep, totally makes sense. Cool. I think with that we should probably get into agenda items. I will go ahead and move us into that. Cool. So the first agenda item is going to be TSC introduce async votes. I think we said we'd pull the label off that. Is that okay if I remove that label, Michael?
Yeah, I think that totally makes sense. I haven't seen that move at all. So
yeah,
if it does move, hopefully I'll see it and I could sort of tag that issue to bring it back. So
another thing I would suggest is that we remove the CC review label. I don't think we've ever used that except for maybe the first like 6 months. I don't think we've actually used it though. So that might be a thing we want to go ahead and nuke from some repos as we see it.
makes sense to me too, because like we had that on the TSC repo, didn't really work.
Yeah.
So like unless it's on the agenda, doesn't necessarily get enough attention. So the review was one stage lower. So
yep. Cool, commented. So that's removed. Next issue is create new GitHub bot for personal access token for V8 automation. I believe I commented on this. The reason this is admin 587. I put it in the chat. By the way, if we could get help with notes, that'd be great. I commented on it. Hold on. Cool, I'm just commenting or writing a note on the TSC issue. I commented on this today. They were missing one more ComCom review. I have given that ComCom review of +1. So we should be good to go, or they should be good to go. If other folks want a +1, please feel free. But yeah, I think that should be resolved at this point.
Cool. Add another +1 just in case there's any.
Nice. Teamwork.
Yep.
There's also the Node.js HE team, which is an extremely inactive team, from what I can tell. One of the members said they don't care. I believe previously there was a -1 from a team member last year, but it was someone who is not hasn't contributed to anything in the org, and they basically said they would like to stay a member of the org to watch, which they can do without being a member of the org, which is what the result of this would be. And they've not been active in the last 5 years. So yeah, I'm not certain that it's negative to do this. Yeah, I'm generally +1 on this. I don't have any issue with it. But yeah, feel free to go ahead and build your own opinion.
The Node.js HE team, I think like in that one, everybody has chimed in saying it was fine.
I think there was one of the people who was not particularly happy with it.
Oh, really? Well, I guess the last time I looked, it was like.
Oh no, they said they're fine with the suggestion, and they can
Right.
join other working groups. Cool. That was
Okay.
the last date.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's. Yeah.
So I was planning to pretty much like, unless there were any objections, go ahead and remove that team. The larger issue, which we discussed in the TSC meeting today, was that what about the suggestion of a larger audit?
Mm-hmm. I would also +1 that. I've been thinking about that more and more.
So I was going to open an issue in the TSC repo. Maybe I should open it in the admin repo.
I think admin would be a good place because
So I'll
there's
open
also
it in.
ComCom stuff that.
I'll open it in the admin repo, and yeah, it was like, I was like, good idea. We just need a volunteer who's going to, actually help to do the audits. Rich mentioned that he's been doing them kind of like ad hoc, but like no promise on when they get to. But the issue, okay, so I will add the same comments as I had the other one. Michael will close this one out by removing team. Michael will open issue in admin repo to cover larger audit. And then that issue can go on however it goes.
Cool. I don't see anything else in that. Does anyone else have questions, concerns, objections, etc.? Cool. We can move on. Next issue is Mentorship 219, which is the one that I believe Cindy added. Do you wanna present that, Cindy?
Sure. So I guess I had noticed an issue in the community committee repo about like the levels of activity in ComCom. And I guess I was thinking that, we could find someone to help work on documentation for, I guess, just help out with the documentation. And while that doesn't address the like level of engagement, which you also pointed out in the issue, perhaps like good documentation leads to other good things happening as well. That's my thinking, but
yeah,
I don't know if that actually solves your problem. And in addition, I don't know, like, I guess if we find someone to help out with documentation, I don't know if you want to do that in the capacity of like mentor mentee, in which case that means someone has to sign up to be the mentor, or like if we just found someone who knows some documentation already, like how to do that, then they might not need that much guidance.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking they could just like show up to meetings and just get caught up with like with what people are talking about, and then the level of like guidance necessary from ComCom members would be like low. That's just like unsolicited help. If that helps you guys or y'all, then like yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a good idea. I'm relatively for this. Perhaps myself and Joe as the like the people who are like represent. Well, Joe, are you? Hold on. You're the CPC representative to the for the ComCom? Yeah. So the two of us. Do we need to re-elect that at some point? I'm realizing that I don't know if we need to if we have a process for that. Anyway, sorry, that's a process discussion that can happen
The
later.
answer is yes.
Yes.
Like I was looking
Jesus,
at that
excuse me.
for like on the TSC side. I looked at the chair re-election, but these do need to be reelected. I just can't remember when.
Yeah.
I think it was a little later in the year.
Yeah, I'm not
I mean,
sure because Mateo handed it over to Mary, and
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure.
It was basically when Mateo stepped down, Mary was the only volunteer, so we didn't do a vote.
Yep.
Otherwise, we would have. But I can't remember the time. I have in mind that it's aligned with when at least for the TSC representative, it was aligned with when we did the vote for the TSC chair was around April, beginning of
Unfortunately,
May.
Node is like ComCom is the exact opposite of the TSE for our chair. But I think you are correct in that timing was correct for us, that we're offset for that. So I think that will be the time. We'll have to double check just like when that election happened. Yeah. And we'll have to check that and see. But yeah, sorry, I absolutely derailed the discussion here. That's another topic that we can.
Should I create an issue really quickly just to figure out?
Yeah,
when...
that'd be good. I also think it might be worth it to see if we can, Michael, build some kind of thing to like an action to run these or to have these run automatically.
An action's an interesting one to create the issue.
Yeah, and like it could create the poll and everything. Like, yeah,
that would be good too.
It could basically do a lot of this for us, and just we don't like. I know for both of us, the TSC and ComCom, it's like a thing. And it's like we actually have to remember there's calendar entries and stuff, so that might be a good one. Anyway, sorry, I'm extremely distracting from Cindy's issue. Yeah, I think that I'm for this, and I think Joe and I could probably co-mentor whoever this is. I think that there are like I can definitely point to specific places of like, oh, we need to work on this, or oh, we need to like, make sure all this stuff is like actually accurate, because there's like stuff that just doesn't exist, that like we said exists, and then in practice it doesn't. So that kind of stuff might be helpful to get someone to work on, and then I think or to work with, to like help them get involved and work on. And then I also think for docs, that might be an interesting one. I think we should wait on that pending the discussion that Joe, Ben, and myself and Ethan Arrowood have. Yeah, I think that might be a good direction to go, though. Yeah. Cool. Any opposition or I guess any other kind of comments, questions, thoughts on this one? Cool. I guess Cindy, what would next steps from us be?
Actually, I think I might point you to David, because
Cool.
yeah, I don't really know this process that well.
Cool.
David?
It's just gonna more or less be the standard mentorship process. Tierney, you've gone through it before. If you're gonna take the lead, we can just set up a meeting and figure out what types of skills and attributes of said mentee should have, and then we'll find one. Or if Joe wants to take the lead, we can do that with Joe.
Cool. Joe, you want to take that? I've already done it, and I figured probably it might be a nice thing for you to work with them on and maybe provide feedback at the end.
Sure, sounds good.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Yeah, I like this idea. Thank you for I wouldn't have thought of it, but I'm glad you thought of it, Cindy. Appreciate it. Cool. Next agenda, community. item, mentorship initiative. So this is just okay, so this is just a generic like if someone's interested, if a working group or initiative or team is interested, get help here basically.
Yeah, so I guess when I made the issue, I intended for it to be included with the previous agenda, and I think we had talked about like the timing of it, but
Yeah.
I guess the automation picked it up and added it to this week's agenda. But it seems like there has been a decision made about how we're going to go forward with that. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you think the CC agenda label can be removed? Or should it stay on for future meetings too?
I can take it off.
Okay, cool. I just wasn't sure if y'all wanted to keep it on or not. Cool. Excellent. With that, we've hit the end of our agenda. Any other agenda things? I have something outside of the agenda if we're not missing anything.
No, just doubling back on the election conversation. I created an issue. Michael shared an issue in the chat, although I think it may have just been to me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
No,
sometimes go ahead.
Oh,
That's
good.
all right. I added it to the issue that I had created, the issue and the issue. It was March of last year, so we're kind of it's
At it.
yeah.
The timing.
So we can spin that up soon and go through that process.
Cool. Sounds good.
Let me ask too, before we move on, related to the ComCom mentee. If I understood the conversation, Tierney, were you suggesting that it could be related to the docs work as well, or would that be a different mentee program?
I think that would be a different one. Like I would assume that if we wanted to have a mentee for that, what would be worked on that would be different. The requirements and requests for that would be different than someone
Okay.
working on ComCom stuff.
Well, then maybe before we start to go down the ComCom mentee path, maybe you and I can just get together and brainstorm some ideas that we think they would work on, and then we can, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Sounds good. The other thing I have, Michael, is there weird? Sorry, I'm looking at it. I had a PR open from ComCom and someone just commented the name of the branch on it. Is there a in TSC, is there automatic removal after an activity?
There is, let me see, I can find that section here. TSC, and I think that's in the charter. The answer is yes, I think, but I better find the actual wording. TSC charter. So this is what it says. TC members are expected to regularly participate in TC activities. And I'll paste that in the chat as well here. But in the case where an individual TSC member within any 3-month period attends fewer than 25% of the regularly scheduled meetings, does not participate in TSC discussions, and does not participate in TCS votes, the member shall be automatically removed from the TSC.
Okay. The automatically removed thing is not what we have. We have ask them if they want to stay, and if they plan, or if they say yes, they stay. The problem with that, I know why we did that. It was to be more inclusive of like people who have flexible times and stuff, or other things like that. It turns out that's a loop where people will just say yes.
Right.
And then that happens. So either saying like yes up to once, and then if that activity is not continued, automatically removed, or modifying that is something I think we should consider. I'm happy to submit a PR for that phrasing. What would this be under? What is that governance, Michael? Or
Yeah, this
charter?
was under the charter. In the case of the TSC, like the wording is meant to be so it's not. It's like if you don't come to the meetings and you don't participate in the discussions and don't participate in the votes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you're not active at all, so you could not come to any meetings
Yep.
because of the time zone, but be active in a bunch of the issues, and that's
Yep.
okay. So I think if you know, if it reflects that, then certainly the one ask
Oh,
is totally reasonable.
And you can always come back, right? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, and you can ask to come back, right?
We
too.
actually have that exact phrasing.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, I didn't realize that we had that. There's always been this yes thing that is what I've looked at. But yeah, I think
is that like in the README or something, Tierney? Do we have it like somewhere else that it mentions
no,
it? No.
it's somewhere here. I don't know where. I'll have to find it. But yeah, no, that exact phrasing is in section 3, establishment of the community committee, which I am probably going to spend some time on then. Like there's even someone who's leading a working group who I've messaged multiple times who just hasn't responded. And I like it's been a while. And yeah, it's just like we need to do stuff with that. So yeah, yeah, totally. Thank you for pointing that out, Michael, because yeah, I didn't realize that exact phrasing was in here.
I mean, we it's not like we have a you know, an automatic thing that actually automatically removes people. So we are.
Yeah.
It is. We still do sort of do the judgment call and whatever, but you know,
Yep.
it's there for people who are truly not active. And
Yep.
So I'm finding in the charter, Tierney, section 3, membership is for 6 months. The group will ask on a regular basis if the expiring members would like to stay on. So that's
that is roughly what I've done. That is specifically what I've said, or that's what I've looked at. I've not looked further down. Yeah, I've not like gone further down. I honestly might end up building some tooling to do this just so like it's not on an individual.
Mhm.
But yeah, the I guess we have to a standard ComCom motion. I guess that would be a motion to remove people. No, but so this text is actually incorrect. There's two contradicting our statements in it. There's a ComCom member may be removed from the ComCom by voluntary resignation or by standard ComCom motion, but it also says that they may be automatically removed if they attend less than the meetings and don't participate in discussions and does not participate in ComCom votes. Yeah, so there is a contradiction in the charter, which is unfortunate.
Mhm.
And that contradiction also might exist in the TSC charter.
I think those ones are not contradictory. There are two ways that you can be removed. Like at any point, the group can basically have a standard vote to say, well, this person no longer belongs on the CP or the ComCom for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Separately, I think the other one can apply in terms of like it was meant to be like, and if you just disappear, then you're also no longer part.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess I will follow up. I'll have to do a query or something to see who's been inactive and who, because I'm sure that like there's a few people who have commented in something. But yeah, there's not a ton who are actually particularly active in the project right now. So thank you for that link. I will see if I'll investigate this because unfortunately, I think doing this, which I think is the right thing to do, would probably cut our membership significantly, which makes sense, but is also unfortunate. So yeah.
Well, accurate is good though.
Yeah.
The flip side is how we might bring some other people in, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think we'll have just us three actually as active members. But yeah,
Right.
I think that opens up the possibility of okay, how do we continue? Also, that's not good because, I mean, I don't care, but you two are technically work under the same umbrella, which would mean one of you would have to, per the rules, one of you would have to step down.
Good times.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll talk about this, and I don't think I will. Like, I'm not gonna make a PR without talking to people first, without pinging people and saying like, this is a thing. I'm not gonna like just PR you out, but like this is a thing. So, yep. Okay.
All right.
We're roughly at time. But yeah, that is a thing. So cool. Thanks everyone for another ComCom meeting. I will catch